All right, so just remember, tomorrow is our test over 2.1 through 2.5. Here is question number 1. So the first one is asking us to find what the quotient would be. You're going to take the first number, 2.6, and divide it by 1.3. A lot of people on their quiz accidentally switched the order there. Now remember, we never want to have a decimal point on this number out here, so we have to move it until it gets to the end of the number. It was only one time there. We'll move it one time here. Then remember, you're going to rewrite it off to the side. 26 divided by 13. How many times can a 13 go into a 26? 2. 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 1 is 2. You got to the bottom, and we're happy because it's a 0. All right, now go back to the original problem. It's a negative divided by a positive, which means my answer has to be negative 2. Okay, so we have learned before that you are not allowed to divide fractions. So what method do we have to use? KFC. Many of you might have missed this on your quiz, and you'd see a little note that I put off to the side. KFC reminds us we have to keep the first one, flip the, and then change the. The only time you're ever allowed to cross-reduce is when you are doing multiplication. Okay, so in this case, we have multiplication here. So we're going to cross-reduce these numbers. Now, only focus on the top number. Guys, what's 6 times 1?
6.
6. Now only focus on the bottom numbers. What's 2 times 1? 2. This is what I saw on the quiz. Quite a few people left their answer like that. What's wrong with that? It's an improper fraction. A fraction bar. Does the fraction bar mean to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? It means to divide. So guys, what's 6 divided by 2? 3. This is also what I saw on the quiz. Quite a few people said 3 over 1. Is that simplified? No, that's still an improper fraction. Guys, what's 3 divided by 1? 3. So your final answer should have been 3. All right, for the next one, find the product or quotient. What do I need to do to that first mixed number before I do anything else? Make it improper. Okay, what would that be as an improper fraction?
5 over 4.
Here's what a lot of people did. They just said it was 5 over 4. Guys, if this is a negative mixed number, what will my improper fraction be? Also a negative. Remember, keep those negative signs with you. Is there anything I can cross-reduce? No. So now we just multiply numerators together. 5 times 1?
5.
And then multiply the denominators together. 4 times 3? 12. Going back to the original problem, or this one right here, a negative times a positive always equals a negative. Check your boards. Make sure that you have the correct answer now. Go ahead and show them to me. Okay, so for this one, we're writing the mixed number as a decimal. There are a few people that I could tell in this class that already have memorized exactly what 1/5 will always be as a decimal. But then there's other people who don't have that memorized. If you don't have it memorized, the first thing you need to do is turn this into an improper fraction. What would that be as an improper fraction? 36 over 5. Okay, now because this was a positive, this is still going to be a positive. Remember, a fraction bar means something. Does a fraction bar mean add, subtract, multiply, or divide? It means divide. So you always take the top number, 36, and divide it by the bottom number, which is 5. If you don't have this on your boards, do it for me, please. Remember, I can put a decimal point and add as many zeros as I want. I always bring the decimal point up. How many times can 5 go into 36? 7 times. 7 times 5 is 35. 36 minus 35 is 1. Because that's not a 0, I have to keep going and keep bringing down zeros. How many times can a 5 go into a 10? 2 times. 2 times 5 is? 10. Now this is when you're allowed to be finished because we got the 0 at the end. Remember, because the mixed number was positive, also my final answer is going to be positive 7.2. Okay, so the next one asks us to write the decimal as a mixed number in simplest form. Here's the deal. All numbers are either whole numbers or part of numbers, okay? In this case, we do have a whole number and a part of a number. What's the whole number on negative 10.6?
10.
Not 10. What's it say? Negative 10. That's where a lot of people messed up. If this is a negative 10 right here, I am also going to drop down that negative 10. Now we have a part of a number. The part of the number that you can see there is 0.6. What place is the 0.6 in, class? The tenths. This is what I saw on the quiz. Oh, 0.6 over 10. Here's the deal. You are not allowed to have a decimal and a fraction at the same time. So 0.6 equals 6 tenths, but it does not equal 0.6 tenths. Does that make sense? Okay, so please make sure you do not put a decimal point in a fraction. It would just be 6 tenths. Is that reduced as much as it can be?
No.
No. So I'm still going to bring down my negative 10, but now I have to reduce that 6 tenths. What can go into a 6 that can also go into a 10? 2. Divide by 2 on top and bottom. Now, what does this fraction equal, class? 3/5. So the final answer is negative 10 and 3/5. For problem number 6, you are using the number properties to multiply. The number property we've really talked a lot about is the commutative property. So remember, use that commutative property to be a shortcut to give you the correct answer. All right, in a problem like this, we're trying to get the reciprocals near each other, okay? So this 2/3 does have a reciprocal, but it's way down here at the end. So commutative property tells me I'm allowed to move the order. I'm going to bring that negative 3/2 closer to its reciprocal, but still bring down the 4/8. As I multiply all this out, the 3's are both becoming 1's, the 2's are both becoming 1's. Looking at this, a negative 1 over 1 times a positive negative 1, or a positive 1 over 1 equals what, class? A negative 1 over 1. Simplify 1 over 1 and you would get just a negative 1. This is what I saw on the quiz. A lot of people then brought down the 4/8 and said they were finished. What's wrong with that? You have to multiply, so you must bring down those parentheses. Class, a negative times a positive always equals a negative. And anything multiplied by the number 1 always equals itself. This is what I also saw a lot of people tell me their answer was. What's wrong with that? It's not reduced, okay? So if you reduce that, then what would you get? Negative 1/2. And that is the correct answer. Okay, so for this we are plugging in. What did I plug in for the H? 12. How about the K? Negative 4. Plus, how about the M? Negative 2. According to PEMDAS, what should I do first? I am going to divide first. Class, what's 12 divided by negative 4? Negative 3 plus negative 2. How many of you got this far?
Yes.
All right, we don't like double signs. Who always wins out of positive, negative right next to each other? Negative always wins, so you can get rid of this, all right? So we have negative 3 minus 2. Remember the saying, every number has a sign, and that sign is directly in front of that number. Here's what a lot of people did. They said, oh, there's 2 negative signs, so it has to be a positive. Remember, you only count the even and odd signs whenever you're multiplying or dividing. Am I multiplying or dividing here? No, I am subtracting. So instead, you want to go back to the rule, same sign, add and keep. Add the numbers, keep the sign. What's the answer? Negative 5. All right, the next one is a modeling real life. It says a snowboarder descends from an elevation of 2,000 feet to an elevation of 1,500 feet in 20 seconds. What is the mean change in elevation per second? Please make sure you show me work of how you get your answer. In a problem like this, we're going to do the final height minus the initial height. Divide it by the time. Okay, so here you can see I've got this little snowboarder who's here, and they start at 2,000 feet. They end at 1,500 feet. So finally, at the end, they were at 1,500 feet minus initially at the beginning they were at 2,000 feet, divided by how much time did this take them? 20 seconds. Let's do the numerator first. What's 1,500 minus 2,000? Negative 500 feet, okay, because they're going down in 20 seconds. But if it ever comes back and it asks you what's the mean change, that means I want to know not in 20 seconds, but in 1 second. So what could I do to get that answer? Divide by 20 on top and bottom. Okay, so if you were going to divide 500 divided by 20, you would get 25, okay? So this means it's going down 25 feet per second. All right, make sure you've got the units attached, feet per second. All right, for our final problem today, you play a game on the computer. For every correct move you make, you receive 15 points. So just remember, you are thinking about your correct moves. For every minute that it takes you to finish the game, you lose 5 points. So we are also considering the time that it takes us. It takes you 8 minutes to complete the game, and you made 3 correct moves. What is your final score? Let's talk about the correct moves. What do you get if you make a correct move, class?
5 points.
Not 5.
Oh, 15.
15. You will receive 15 points. How many correct moves did you make?
3.
All right, you can see it's down here. You made 3 correct moves. What do I have to do to the 15 and the 3?
Times it.
Multiply it. What's 15 times 3?
45.
45. This is one step we need to know, but not the final answer. Let's go to the time. Every minute it takes you, you lose 5 points. What integer represents losing 5 points?
Negative 5 points.
Negative 5. How many seconds did it take, or minutes did it take you?
8.
It takes you 8 minutes to complete the game. So what do I do to the negative 5 and the 8?
You divide them.
You multiply it. Negative 5 times 8 equals?
40.
Not 40.
Negative 40.
Negative 40. Also a piece. Now let's combine these two. 45 minus 40, and what do you get?
Negative 5.
5. Possibly 5, yeah.
5 points, okay? Take the sign of the larger number, and that will give you the correct answer. So the correct answer is 5 points. All right, so don't forget, guys, this will be a helpful tool to study tonight over Chapter 2 for your test tomorrow.